Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? I'm just giving it a couple seconds to let everybody else join in. Yep, Dr. Fungi said no audio. It's because I had my mic muted. I was getting things set up. Rico, welcome in. He said hashtag Trade Daddy. If you know, you know. Prax, what's up? What's up? Prax is always here. Every week. Consistency. That's what I like to see. Welcome in. Alex, what's up, man? Ethan, hello. Yeah, give the video a thumbs up. I mean, I know I haven't said much yet, but you're gonna love the content, I promise. Connor, what's up? I guess I can go ahead and delete this. We are beginning now. Adrian, welcome in. DJ, welcome in. Sid, Eddie, hello, hello, hello. To everyone else that I haven't named or hasn't said hey, welcome in. Hope you had a great weekend. We've got some more really, really good setups to review this afternoon. Just a heads up, I'm not a financial advisor, so what we are reviewing today, this is just my personal trading plan for tomorrow as well as for the rest of the week. It's not to be taken as financial advice, okay? All mentions here, they're just my opinion, so I have to legally say that. I will be taking charting requests towards the end of this stream, so stick around for that if you want me to review your stocks, all right? Not much of an intro here. The market's trading at all-time highs, so I mean, if we want to make it very simple for our analysis on the overall market, we can. All we have to look for this week is a new all-time high to be made or not, right? Either it's going to pull back and we trade sideways, or a new all-time high will be made and we just move up. I will be looking for 4250 on /ES to hold as a support this week. I mean, it's been tough. This market has been kind of tough as far as like direction goes. I feel bad for any swing traders because this right here is a lot of chop, a lot of consolidating, a whole lot of nothing really. But what is hopeful is that we now hopefully have a breakout, right? You see the breakout there. I'm hoping that this sustains and we don't get another big drop down like this and then another reversal. I mean, the indirection has been, well, it hasn't been that bad for us as day traders, but for swing traders, it's slightly annoying, I'm sure. All right, let's get into the watch list for tomorrow. Press that like button for me. Show some love. Here it is. Without any hesitation, the first one on the watch list is SPCE. Without a doubt, this makes the watch list. Gapped up pretty big here. I think this was like a 20% plus gap up on the FAA approval to send passenger flights into space. So big gap up on big volume on big news. Here's your gap between about $42 to $46. Ran all the way up to 57 intraday, and then after hours even ran up to $60. So what's interesting here is 62.8 is the all-time highs, and if we just drew a trend line at $60 where it's currently trading at, this is not going to display that after hours price. You'll see that we're matching up perfectly with this previous level of resistance. So as of right now, here's my plan on SPCE. I plan to take it long over 60 for the run up to this all-time high, and then I will decide what to do with my position from there. If we're talking about profit margins, from 60 up to the all-time high is about 4.9% or so, and I typically look for about a 2% move. So I really would, I mean, if I took it long over 60, I really wouldn't need to wait for it to get up to the all-time high to be able to make some decent profits on this trade. But that's just my plan as of right now. So one thing that's important to note is that these stocks move pre-market, right? They're likely going to move, and there's a chance that this opens up above $60, right? What happens if this gaps up even further and opens up near 63 or 64? Well, at that point, whatever that pre-market high winds up being, if it's over 62.8, That's going to be your new all-time high, and then that will become your new trigger level. If it does something wild where it gaps up like 20 or 20 or 30% or whatever, I may not take the trade, just because I mean, that type of move following this type of move seems like it would pull back rather than continue. So if it gaps up crazy, I don't plan to take a trade on it, but if it only gaps up a few dollars, I don't see any issue with that if it's trading right at the all-time highs. But as of right now, my plan is to take SPCE long over the $60 price point for the run up to, $62 or $63. You're likely going to see some resistance. If this is the case, right, if it opens up under 60, you're likely going to see some resistance at around 62.5 or 62.8 in that area where, as it's nearing that all-time high, it might start to curl over a little bit. So just make sure that you're managing your position. And if you wind up taking the trade over 60, if you're up on profits, nobody ever went broke taking profits. SPCE, though, this is the first one on the watch list for tomorrow. If you're just joining in, welcome. I'm going over my trading plan for tomorrow. I will be taking some charting requests at the end of this stream. Number 2 on the watch list is FUBO. Fubo. So decent moves here, actually. This is pretty clean price action. Little triangle breakout right here on some higher volume. The move up had 3 days of consolidation where it really didn't do much. You had like a morning pop, a midday pop, and then just like an all-day fade down. But then this got really interesting once it pushed up and kind of broke this range. So I'll draw it out for you. Support was right around 31.3, resistance up here at around 33.3. There's your breakout move to the top side. Nice volume there. That's what I really like. Nice volume on this breakout move to the top side. So this is currently trading right at this peak of resistance. All right, so this peak of resistance, where we're at right now, above that there was a drop down, and then just above that there was a gap area, or there is a gap area. So this means that if we break over, what is this, $35, I think that there's potential for this to run this week up to this $38 gap area, right? And that's going to be your next resistance point overhead. If we get into the gap, you're looking at a possible gap fill up to like 39.5, and then we'll see where we go from there. But one step at a time. Right now, my plan is just to take FUBO long over 35 for the move up to, whatever 2% is. So we're looking at probably 36. Yeah, I mean that's a simple trade, right? I aim for base hits. I really don't aim for these crazy 100% gainers. I see it all the time on social media, and I'm really happy for those that trade like that and can do it consistently. But I found my best consistency. I've found my best gains are whenever I'm just milking the market for these base hits over and over and over again. So if I find that something is repeatable and I can exploit it, then that's what I'm going to do, and that's kind of the game plan that I'm giving you now. So just base hit plays, that's going to make your account grow. It may not be as fast as these some of these meme stock gains, but it might be more consistent. All right, so FUBO is the second one on my watch list. Long idea over 35. That's my plan as of right now for the move up to 36 plus. Number 3 on the watch list, Alibaba. BABA. This to me looks like a double bottom pattern with support built around, let's just say 210. So here, I'll draw out the pattern. This is what it looks like. Looks like a big W, right? There's bottom 1. This is your neckline. This is bottom 2. There's your confirmation bounce coming off of the second bottom. So the expected move looks like this, and it's only confirmed when you get a break of this neckline right there, which is what we have now. So we got a big volume coming in. Actually, towards the end of the day, this really wasn't a trade all day until the end of the day. And so now it's like I feel like on everybody's radar. A lot of traders in the community are talking about Alibaba. It just offers a good risk to reward. I mean, look at this weekly chart time frame, right? This is an area where it's bounced previously. So it made sense, honestly, that it would bounce here once again, and we'll see if this is the true bounce where it breaks this downward trend line. So far, we're not breaking over this trend line, which means we could still get rejected, but we'll see what happens. So this is my plan for Alibaba. I'm going to take it long right over the $230 price point, provided that it doesn't gap up. This stock is known to do this, where it gaps up and then does nothing all day, or gaps down and then does nothing. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see this gap up. And if that's the case, here's what we need to be conscious of. This 200 EMA, that's that blue line right there. On the daily chart time frame, I think that it's my personal opinion that the 200 EMA is probably one of the most accurate indicators when it comes to trading. And this level is treated as both a support when both a support and a resistance, but only treated as a support when the stock is trading over it, right, on the daily chart time frame. So since we're trading under this level, that means that if Alibaba were to run over 230, I think we're going to meet some resistance around here at 235, 236 in this area. So if the stock gaps up, the reason why I'm telling you this is if Alibaba gaps up to like 235 or 236, there may not be a trade here going into tomorrow, because that cuts into our profit margin. Despite me being a long bias trader, I'm really not a fan of gap ups, because I analyze for the gap up to occur intraday so that I can trade it, and whenever the gap up occurs pre-market, I'm like, well, that's the play that I was looking for, so it's good to know my analysis is correct, but it kind of takes the trade away from me. But I still like it. I still like Alibaba over 230. I think that with this recent run up, especially from these lows at like 210 all the way up to, whatever this is going to be, 236, you might see some resistance in this area like you have in the past, right at the 200 EMA. If it breaks over that price point, though, that's when it can get interesting, because then we would truly have a kind of like a break of this downward trend line and a possible trend change as it's bouncing off of the support. All right, so Alibaba, long idea over 230 with a price target of 236 in mind. For those of you just joining in, I'm giving you my breakdown on my trading plan for tomorrow. So far, we've talked about FUBO and SPCE. We're just finishing up on BABA. And so we're going to move into the next one, which is going to be Uber, UBER. This is great, actually, because it rolls right into the concept that I was just talking about, with that 200 EMA being both a level of support and resistance. Here's a really good example where it had broke below, pushed back up and reclaimed it, and then started trading within the 50 EMA as a resistance and the 200 EMA as a support. And it looked like it was honestly about to break down, and then out of nowhere it kind of started to push back up. So we have a break now of this downward trend line. It almost looks like a larger bull flag, if you will. So we have a break of this downward trend line, though. We have a reclaim of the 50 EMA. We have a validation of the 200 EMA as a support. And from a horizontal point of view, this level right here at $52 was previously a support, then flipped to resistance, and is now resistance once more. So we're looking for the break over $52. Again, just for a 2% profit margin, break over 52 for the run up to like 50, 53 area. That's all that we would really need on this trade, right? Just aiming for those base hit trades. Break over 52 for the run to 53. I'm hoping that this one gets some momentum behind it now that it's started to validate and confirm this 200 EMA as a support. So we'll see if we can get that break of 52. If not, there's no trade here. I really don't care what it does underneath $52, but whenever it does break 52, I'm ready to take a position. So as a recap, that's my main chart watch list. I'm going to give you some side charts here in a second. Recap: SPCE, FUBO, BABA, and UBER, all making my main chart watch list for tomorrow. I'm going to talk about some side charts now. While I'm doing that, feel free to post up in the chat section anything that you want me to review. I just ask that you don't call out any penny stocks because I don't trade penny stocks. Also, don't call out random stocks. Try to give me some sort of reasoning, as to why you want me to review that stock. So maybe a sentence or two, or a resistance point or support point or whatever. All right, as for the side chart, first one is going to be BYND. This is a side chart because it's been chopping around a lot, and I don't know if it's going to break out of this chop and run. I mean, it looks promising. I've been watching BYND for quite some time. It looks really promising right here, but I don't know if it's going to make the move, and if it does, I don't know when. So that's why it's a side chart, right? Just keep alerts set on this thing so that whenever it does start to move, you're ready to trade it. This to me is starting to look like a big bull flag. So there's your flag. There's your flag pull. It had a triple gap up on the way up, broke over the 200 EMA, pulled back, tested it as support, big move back up to the top side, and then has since really kind of done nothing. A lot of chopping around. What I find interesting now, though, is that it's really starting to treat this $150 level as a resistance. So I don't plan on taking a long position over 150. I think I would want a little more confirmation. But to trade a bull flag, here's what you need, right? You need these lower highs to stop making lower highs and to start making higher highs. So a break over these highs here at like 152 or 153 would certainly give you the confirmation that BYND is breaking out of the bull flag pattern. And I think that, this stock can make some crazy moves. So I don't think it's out of the question to see this run up towards 160 if it decides to break out this week. It needs to, for this pattern to continue to validate though, I think that it needs to hold this 200 EMA as a support. So you really don't want to see this break below 137, because it could just continue to chop around and consolidate for a while, which is fine. But this is what you want to see happen during that consolidation, is this lower volume stay low, and you want to kind of see it hold over that 200 EMA, because if it breaks below, then there's this gap area right here that it really didn't fill. In fact, there's 3 gap areas just below. But yeah, so looking for a break over 152 on BYND. It's not quite ready yet. Keep your alerts set there just in case. The second one on my side chart watch list is going to be PLTR. So this one, it's a side chart because it's been like doing this slow grinding thing on the way up, which is slightly annoying to trade because I just want to see a big breakout move. I know PLTR has the power to do it. It was doing it all back here, right? This is the type of momentum that I want to see pull back and get back into this stock, but we're not really seeing it yet. But it is creeping up to a pretty important point of resistance right at 27.5. So this peak right here, I'm looking for a break of this peak to see if we can get these larger moves to come back into the stock. Just about every time it's broken over this area, it's ran to about the $30 price point, maybe 20. I think 29 is probably more accurate. 29 to $30. So there's a lot of profit margin here that's offered if the momentum and the volume comes back in. Just overhead, above that, there is a little gap area here too. So it's going to be between 30.5 up to 31.2. That is relevant. As of now, just keep your alerts set on PLTR over 27.5 and patiently wait. You could probably take a trade over 27 as well, but I want to make sure that there is some direction on this thing, and it's not just gonna kind of do what Twitter did into that gap area where it slowly made new highs each day. Netflix. This is the next one on the side chart watch list. This is really strange to me. I don't know really what to make of this, because if Netflix moves up, meaning if it makes a new high from the most recent high, then it's filling a gap. But if it makes a new low from the most recent low, then it's also filling a gap. In fact, it would be filling a double gap here. So either way, Netflix, if Netflix has any type of directional day at all, it's filling a gap to either side. As of right now, it's red, so I don't know. Maybe it validates this level as a support at 525 and then pushes back up to 532 and rejects and maybe starts building a range. I don't really know what to make of this. That's why it's a side chart item. You could, however, set alerts to either side at like 530, whatever, 532.5 and 525, and just play the directional break to either side, whatever way it decides to go. But yeah, double gap on Netflix. I just really wanted to point that out. So either way, if it doesn't have an inside day where it just moves sideways, you're looking at a gap fill to either side. Workhorse, we have this stock. We've been waiting on this thing to make a breakout move for a while now, and I mean it's been teasing us. It's kind of given us that breakout move with this candle right here, but then it rejected at the 200 EMA. Remember that 200 EMA being another strong point of resistance, but we do have consolidation in this area. So it's quite opposite of Uber, isn't it? Where it's now treating the 50 EMA as a support and the 200 as a resistance, where it was flipped with the Uber chart. We're looking for a break over this 200 EMA, so I want to see a daily candle close over 16 to give us that confirmation for the move up. There's a trade possible over 16.5. Obviously, if it starts making new highs from here, if it's breaking 16.5, then it's already broken 16. There's potential for this to run back up to the highs here, noted at $18, and then we'll see where it goes from there, up to 20 maybe. There's a lot of room here for Workhorse to make up if it can get over the $20 price point. That will be really interesting. But as of right now, we're just waiting for a break of 16 for the move closer to 18. I'm seeing a lot of you calling out stocks. I'm going to get to those in just a second. I've got a couple more to go over. We're going to review Tesla. This one has two things happening here. A gap area below from 667 down to 657. So there's a possible short entry here if this fails to hold this gap area as a support. And to the flip side, there's a whole number just overhead. So you're going to want to have alerts set over $700 on Tesla and then maybe below 667, and you can trade it to either side. Me personally, I'm probably not going to short Tesla, even if it gets into this gap area and fails. I would be looking for like a dip entry here, to be honest. If it fails to hold this gap area as support and then drops down to like 640, I'd probably be looking for a dip entry there to take it back long up to the top side. Tesla is just now breaking out of this kind of very large pattern here. Maybe that gives you some perspective. So this pullback happening at the whole number at 700, it's not surprising considering that it just broke out, but it had a couple of very large days, right, where it gapped up and ran. So we'll see where it goes from here. Set your alerts at 700 and maybe below 667 if you're a short bias trader. But just remember, the trend is your friend, and as of right now, that trend is kind of up. Most recently, it's up. The last one, and this is probably one of my favorite setups for this week. It's not ready yet. It's AAL. This is another one that we've been eyeing for quite some time. It's been range trading here on the daily with support around 21.9, resistance at around 22.5. Very clear levels of support, very clear level of resistance. All that we're looking for from here is a break of this resistance for the move up. I thought for sure that when we got that move on Boeing last week, when Boeing broke this downtrend, I thought for sure we would see a sympathy move with AAL, and we never got it. So Boeing broke this downtrend, big day up, 2 days of consolidation, another big day up, and a pullback, right? AAL did pretty much nothing. I thought for sure that we would have a similar move where it broke the downtrend, and it has kind of broken the downtrend. It's not downtrending anymore. That's what I mean by that. So it's not downtrending, but it's not uptrending. So you're just looking for a break of 22.5. The reason why I said it's not ready yet is because it's trading literally right in the middle of the range. All right, so if we wake up and AAL is at 22.5 somehow pre-market, I will be putting this on the watch list 100%. All right, so just to recap, BYND, we've got alerts set over 152. PLTR, we've got alerts set over 27.5. Tesla, we have alerts set over 700. Netflix, we have alerts set over 532. Workhorse, alerts set over 16.5. And then AAL, alerts set over 22.5. If you're just joining in, I just completed my entire breakdown of my trading plan for this week. If you missed it, it's okay. You can re-watch this stream as soon as I end it, and it's going to be uploaded for the next 24 hours. So I mean, you could just press start and watch it from the beginning. All right, let's get into some of these stocks that you all have been requesting. I see a lot of requests here. Am I trading options? Yes, I am trading. Well, it depends. I mean, I trade both options and shares, but primarily options. It depends on the stock, though. All right, Alex has said QS has a double bottom on the daily chart time frame plus a hammer doji, which signals a possible reversal. Bull flag on the 4-hour. Let me see the 4-hour here. Okay, so there's your most recent run, and then this is what he's considering to be the flag part. Sure. Long over 29.5. Let's see. So you'd take it long right over the peak of the bull flag with a price target of 31.50. Oh, that's a big price target. Percentage, I always think in percents. So percentage-wise, he's aiming for like a 6.7, almost like a 7% profit margin here. I don't know, are you planning to swing trade this? I see what you're going off of, by the way. He's going right off of where this 50 EMA is at. So from a day trade perspective, actually QS has the potential to make a larger move like this. I've seen it do it before. I would agree with your price target being the 50 EMA. Even over the 50 EMA, I think you're going to probably see some resistance at this peak right here, right around $32. Maybe you want to wait for a little more confirmation over 30. Let's see, is 29.5 the previous day's high? Yeah, so look at this pre-market move right here. It's at 29.8, right? And so if you took a position over 29.5, there is a chance that it gets stopped right here at 29.8. I mean, it's kind of insignificant, I know, but it does matter, because if we're looking at, like, let's say $30 is a whole number, right? You would agree with that? A stock trading under $50, every $10 mark is a likely level of resistance because it's a whole number, 10, 20, 30, 40, up to $50. So $30 is naturally going to be a point of resistance. We know that in trading, especially just trading in general, price action, stocks don't have to move exactly the way that we think they're going to move. So a stock moving up to $30, we might say that it can move up to 29.88 and reject and come down, and we would just round it up, right? Hey, that's close enough. $30 is the resistance. That's exactly what's happening here. So if you took a position over where you said you did, 29.5, or where you wanted to, with the price target of from a day trading perspective, 31.50 in mind, I think you're going to run into a couple of issues with that price target, just because there's likely resistance here at 29.8. I would say there's almost definitely going to be resistance at $30. So unless you're swing trading this, there might be you might be better off waiting for a break over 30. That's just my 2 cents. I would. I mean, I like what you're doing here with the. It kind of reminds me of Alibaba because it has like a low risk play to the bottom side with the high reward. Obviously, like this is a big point of support. It almost looks like a an inverted head and shoulders, right? Where you left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then the expected move up from here. You know, this could make up a lot of ground. I think that maybe a break over $30 would give you more confirmation, might be a safer entry, but where you're wanting to enter is a more aggressive entry, more risky, right? So more aggressive, you would get more profits, but it's more risky because there's a chance it gets rejected at 30. But nonetheless, I mean, if it gets up and over $30, then you definitely have a move probably up to that 50 EMA. Let's see, somebody mentioned CCL over 28.5. This is one that we went over, I think, last week or the week before. CCL has some big room here to make up if it can get over $30 and hold. But it's having a real problem getting over that $30 price point. Just from the weekly perspective, right? But on the daily chart time frame, a break of this downtrend here might give you that run back up to $30 and might give you that break. So this to me looks like a false breakout. It is a false breakout. It's like this is a wide range, right, between $25 and 30. So resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, breakout. Oh, I'm going to take the stock long here at 30 for that move up, and then fake out, right, where it comes right back down. So I would look for this to maybe break this downward trend line and start to climb back up. You're looking at taking a position over, oh, actually you didn't say anything. CCL over 28 point, over 28.5. Okay, yeah, so you're looking at the same thing that I am then, pretty much. Yeah, a break over 20, like, if it starts making, or stops making lower highs and starts making higher highs, you probably have a break of this downtrend and the move back up to the top side. I would just be careful that $30 is, that's a big resistance point, right? Not just because it's a whole number, but I mean, it's literally the resistance that we see here on the daily chart time frame. 1, 2, 3 rejections and a fake out at 30. That is definitely going to be a significant level to watch. But yeah, over 29.5, a stock price this cheap, even if you're aiming for base hits, I think you would only need, yeah, I mean, close to like a 50 or 60 cents move to get a 2% profit. Needs to get back over that 50 though, that 50 EMA. A couple of you have mentioned BYND. I've already kind of broken that one down, so we're going to skip that one. If you want to see my breakdown on it, just restart the stream later on. Airbnb, we've analyzed this one previously. In fact, this was done a couple of weeks ago, back when it was trading in this area, and it just has literally done like nothing. So somebody said that the weekly chart, it's bouncing off the 200 EMA, and it's a leap play idea. Okay, Airbnb bounced off of these this low right here and started to push back up. But what we're seeing is an initial rejection at this 50 EMA. So this is pretty much built a range, right? With support around 148, resistance around 155. I don't see a trade here on Airbnb until it breaks out of this range. It's just like AAL. Why would you try to trade within a range and limit yourself on profit margin to either side when you could just wait for a break to the bottom or to the top and you know, get a directional move in there somewhere? So a break of 155, I'm definitely interested in it. I would probably put that right on the watch list. It's just not there yet. It's trading, you know, closer to the bottom side of the range. So if it were up here, I would be telling you guys about this all day long, right? But it's not trading at this top side yet. So maybe it does reverse sometime this week and gets back up to 155, at which point if it breaks 155, we've got a break of this 50 EMA, and our next level of resistance is going to be right here at that 200 EMA. So it'll be a break of 155 with a price target of 160, but it's not there yet. It's still trading within this range. I know you said that this is, you're saying it's a leap play idea. I'm a day trader. I'm not going to analyze or speculate for a year out, but I will say that I like Airbnb, and I think with the reopening, since COVID, this might be one that I don't think you're wrong. I think it might increase over time, but that's just speculation. All right, let's see what else. Somebody else here calling out. Yeah, AAL. We already went over AAL there. PLTR. We've already reviewed that one as well. Somebody said CLX. Let's do this one. Clorox, huh? Good volume on the last candle. 172.5 support the past 7 days. This looks like a reversal to me. Let me see the weekly chart time frame. Look, I mean, it doesn't get much cleaner than that. Resistance turned into new support. Very kind of cut and dry there, isn't it? I don't know that I would day trade CLX though. This would probably be one that you would want to maybe swing trade. But yeah, I mean, if it's reversing, right? If it's truly reversing, which it looks like it is, because this candle right here is known as a, this is like a hammer candle almost, right? Where it's the price pushed down, got bought back up, reversed, the volume came in, pushed up. So now you're seeing, rather than these lower highs being made, you've got a breakover with a higher high. So from here, all you're looking for is this reversal to continue. So it would just be a continuation watch over 177. And if you're swing trading it, maybe place a stop at 172 or 170 or whatever. I don't know that I would day trade this though. I mean, it's just not one that I see thrown around a lot. I mean, during the COVID time frame, it was popular, but yeah. Okay, Dave said AMD has a bull pennant on the weekly, watching over 87. Let me see on the weekly chart. What do we got here? I don't see a bull pennant on the weekly. I'm sorry. I did see it right here on the daily though, kind of. Maybe this was more like a bull flag. It doesn't really matter. It's breaking out, right? Because this range where it was consolidating over the 50 and the 200 EMA was broken whenever it had that recent news. Perfect pullback to test the old resistance as new support, and then the run back up to the top side. I agree with you. I like AMD for a possible continuation play. That news that came out was pretty big. I'll let you do your own due diligence on what that was. But look at where my alerts are set. 86.5, $87. This type of pullback and even this type of pullback is expected after a larger move and a larger run up. So I don't have any issues with it pulling back where it's at. In fact, I would like to see it consolidate for a longer period of time, because basically what that does is just builds a base here for the next leg up. Right, so we'll be looking for a break of 87 as well. I totally agree with you on that, Dave. Good, thanks for bringing that up. BB's asking, what do I think about a Facebook short under 340? I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, to be honest. Facebook right now has been very strong. One thing to remember is that the trend is always your friend, right? And so with Facebook having this much consolidation right here, treating, what is this, 338, I believe, as a resistance, then a break below 340 means that 338 is your likely point of support. So I think it makes sense for it to pull back at these highs, sure, but right now it's really strong and moving up. So why not just, instead of looking for a short position, why not look for a long position over 345? If you're a short bias trader, I would be watching something like Tesla that has a gap below where you can short into the gap, or I'd be watching something like Netflix that has a gap below where you can short into the gap. Something weaker, right? Not weaker, but something that obviously may need to pull back, or even Roku. This one's pretty strong actually. But I mean, it moved up really quickly. And what are we looking at? Like 6 trading days, it ran 30% almost, 28, 29%. So I don't know that I would be necessarily trying to short Facebook, just because old resistance can become new support, and there's potential support right below where it's trading at. So unless something like the overall market starts pulling back, and you see a lot of these kind of larger tech names bleeding with SPY, I don't know that I would feel comfortable taking a short position on Facebook. That's kind of my 2 cents. All right, we already went over CLX. We already went over AMD. I literally just talked about Roku. I feel like it's overdone on this run. I wouldn't feel comfortable about that, taking that one long. BYND, we've talked about that one as well. QS, okay, we talked about that one. What are we missing here? Somebody said VRTX. Let's do that. It's a gap play. I would be curious to know what this news is that caused it to gap down. You know, it's not an earnings gap down, so obviously something's going on here. And look at, oh, that's perfect. Okay, so here's my breakdown for VRTX. This is a gap play, and that gap area winds up, you know, this is perfectly placed at the $200 hold number. All right, so a break over 200 would give you 2 things. It would give you a break of the whole number, and it would give you a break into the gap area. You need to be mindful that the 50 EMA is located right here, though. So that's going to be your point of resistance at 205. That 205 price point where the 50 EMA is located also perfectly lines up with all of this support. So a break of 200 for the move up to 205 is a possible trade. Just be careful that you're going against the trend. Obviously, whatever this news was, it wasn't good, right? So this move up I think it's probably more likely that it gets rejected at 200 rather than fills that gap. But yeah, that would be my breakdown. I wouldn't even touch this until it gets over 200. That's a gap area right there. Cool. That's really good charting right there. That's really good charting. I'm not saying it's a good trade or a good setup, but that's how I would play it. I'd wait for a break of 200. Somebody mentioned SQ, so this has a is at the bottom of an upward channel, entry at the $240 whole number. Price target 244. Yeah, if it validates this area as a support, that's possible. The channel that this person's talking about looks like that. So that would be your upward channel with support being along this line, resistance along this line. So they're talking about taking an entry with the expectation that this support line for this upward channel is going to hold, and that it's going to push back up towards the top side of this channel. There's a couple, I mean, that's one way to trade it. There's always, if you're even looking at like multiple, like different patterns, there are multiple ways to trade patterns, right? You could trade an ascending triangle as it's testing the lower side here. It's a little more risky, but you can maximize your profits. Or you could trade it the moment that it's breaking out of the ascending triangle there, or you could trade it the moment that it's retesting the top side of the ascending triangle here. So that's like 3 different ways that you could trade that, right? I feel the same way with this channel on SQ. The way that you mentioned, sure, that's a possible way to trade it. You would be taking on a little more risk because you're basically assuming that this trend line will hold. If that works out, right, if that is the case, then this looks like a solid trade for what you just mentioned with a price target of like, you know, whatever, 244, 245 in mind. But the safer way to trade it, I think, is that a break over 250 would give you that confirmation that it is moving higher. And so you would have not only a break over 250, but a break over the whole number. Well, 250 is the whole number, and a break over this most recent high, right? That's going to be your big confirmation that it is moving back up to the top side. A break of 250 just historically speaking, has pushed this closer to 260 each time. So SQ over 250 can get really interesting, but I mean, I don't know if it's worth a trade while it's trading under it. It literally just pushed up and tested it, and it's been a resistance point in the past. So who's to say that this is not a minor dip and maybe is a rejection, right? Do you see what I'm getting at? Taking just this bigger picture into mind. So me personally, I would wait for a break of 250, but you know, there's multiple ways to trade different patterns and setups and channels and stuff. All right, you guys are asking about Boeing. Let's do a Boeing breakdown. This one's almost the same, almost the same thing as well, the same level. 250 is right here where it pushed up, met 250, actually hit a 252 and then pulled back. I don't think that Boeing's done here, to be honest. I think that Boeing is in like a larger kind of pattern here, where support's around this area and resistance is around this area. So I think that this still has time to chop around and figure out what it wants to do. It'll be really interesting once Boeing gets over 260, which I know is pretty far off from where it's currently trading at right now. But for me to even be interested in Boeing, I think that it needs to break 250. And if it breaks 250, I know that there's resistance up here around 252. So I might just wait. You know, this is why my alert's set right here. My alert's set at 251.5. So I think I would wait for a break over that level or even 252 before I consider putting this on my watch list and taking a position on it. I think that it gets super interesting when it breaks over 260. Just because look at the weekly chart. You guys see that? Look how much room Boeing still kind of has to make up. I don't think that 300 is out of the question, maybe longer term, but as of right now, in the short term, it needs to get back over 250 and show us that it's going to show some strength and give us new highs. He said, Rico said, is it Monday yet? Yeah, maybe. I know, I used to be one of those people that really hated Mondays, but no, I love them. All right, guys, I am going to call it an afternoon. I will be answering any of your questions. If I didn't get around to your stock and you want me to still review it, just shoot me a DM on Discord or on Instagram or something, and I'll break it down for you. But I'm going to call it an afternoon here. Thank you all for your time and for tuning into the stream. I hope that it's helped you out in some way. Let's make some money tomorrow, right? We're starting a new month. We're starting a new month this week, so new month, new money. Thank you, guys. I'll see you in chat.